Hello everyone, this is the lesson on equations of circles. In general, an equation for a circle with a center located at points HK, where those two could be positive or negative, and it has a radius of r units, is going to be x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals the radius squared. So in general, regardless of the location of the circle, we need to know the center. In this case, that's going to be given by the coordinates h and k, and the radius. So as long as we have those two, then we're going to be able to either graph the equation, meaning we're going to be able to graph the circle, or if needed, we're going to be able to come up with the equation of a given circle. Okay, let's take a look at a few examples on this topic. So first, let's go ahead and state the center and the radius for the equation x plus 11 squared plus y minus 15 squared equals 81. So I want to know the center, and this one should be an ordered pair. And I want to know the radius, and this would be some number. Okay, so let's go ahead and underneath this equation, let's go ahead and write down the general equation for a circle. Based on the general equation for a circle, we can tell that this is not in the same format. So let's go ahead and rewrite that. So we're supposed to have x minus something so that we can have a plus 11. So the only way to get that would be if we had negative 11. Okay, so h should be negative 11. Now y minus 15, that is in the correct format. So that means that 15 is going to be equal to k. So let's go ahead and write down the coordinates. So for the center, the coordinate for x is going to be negative 11, and the coordinate for y is going to be 15. Okay, so negative 11, positive 15. So pay attention to those signs. Now for the radius, I want to go ahead and use that relationship where I know that the radius squared is equal to 81. So if I want to know what the length of the radius is, then I take the square root of both sides to get that the radius is equal to 9. Over here I have that I need to graph the circle whose equation is x plus 3 squared plus y squared equals 4. So once again, I need to have x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals the radius squared. Since I have x plus 3, the only way for that to happen is if I have x minus negative 3. Then that turns into x plus 3. Okay, so that means that h is negative 3. Over here, y is all by itself. I'm not subtracting anything, so that means that the only way for this to happen is if k were to be 0. So that means that for the center, then that would be at negative 3, 0, which means that it would be located right here. For the radius, I know that the radius squared is 4, so taking the square root, I know that that's going to be equal to 2. So that means that from the center, in every direction, I go 2 units. So to the right, 2 units, to the left, 2 units, down 2 units, up 2 units. And then you go ahead and make a sketch of the circle the best way you can. Use a compass or whatever tool you may have. Okay, and that would be the representation of the circle whose equation is x plus 3 squared plus y squared equals 4. These are the last two examples that I'll go over. So we need to go ahead and write the equation for the circle given the following information. The first one, we have the center of the circle at negative 12, positive 15, and we have a diameter of 26. So the formula needs to look like this, or the equation I should say. x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals the radius squared. So this is going to be h, this is going to be k. So that means that we have x minus negative 12 squared plus y minus k, which is 15, squared, that's equal to the radius squared. Now we're given the diameter, and we know that the radius is half of the diameter, so half of 26. So this is going to be 13 squared. So let's go ahead and simplify. This should turn into x plus 12 squared plus y minus 15 squared, and we need to evaluate the power, so 13 squared is 169. So this would be the equation. And the last one over here, we have the center at positive 33, positive 64 with a radius of the square root of 5. So the equation for the circle since we're given the center, then this is going to be h and 64 is going to be k. 33 and 64. The radius squared, the square root of 5 squared. So simplifying, the only thing that I need to simplify would be the right side. Everything else remains the same. On the right side, we have that the square and the square root, then they undo each other, so my answer is 5. So x minus 33 squared plus y minus 64 squared is equal to 5 would be my final answer.